Well, I suppose it was, what the future is going to be like. Obviously, we operate. Obviously, we're a healthy living centre, but we operate from a building as well. So not only do we have a team of staff, but we also have a building that kind of houses a range of different tenants that provide a range of different programs and services as well. So for the local community. So not only did we have to navigate, as an organisation, how our own funding projects would operate, but we also had to navigate how the tenancies and the staff within the building would work as well. So I mean, we had to close up shop basically and send people home. We sent people home with laptops. We had to kind of get them hooked up on laptops, and then the first thing I suppose was making direct contact with all those people that were on our books, if you like. So the case of each individual project, making contact with all the service users, to say that, look, here's our plans now moving forward. Firstly, we want to check in with you just to make sure everything's all right, because there's a wider response in terms of community response in terms of the food parcel delivery and the medication aspect as well. So we were able to refer and tie people into that locally, but as well as that, then it was about asking them if they were able to connect via social media, or some kind of technology piece, so that we could then continue their kind of health and well-being journey through whatever their project that is. So for example, a big part of it was keeping people in a routine. We knew that if people were going to be locked down and indoors, it's important that they still kept their routine. So what we try to do was, whenever our particular programs and services were running, we try to keep the engagement with people online at those particular times of the day, and on those those particular periods of the week. So basically what people would have come into the centre for, we had just shifted the online. So we had something like 18 classes a week.
Wow.
That each individual project would have taken responsibility for particular areas. So we had our leads team, so the large dementia projects funded by the National Lottery. So, and obviously we had to shift a lot of that work as well online, as so they were still delivering, but they were having phone call conversations. They were singing down the phone to the older people. They were reading poetry. They were and then they were giving the carers information and advice and guidance around how to deal with difficult situations, how to manage the different behaviours that they're facing, as well as kind of having stuff then that they could tune into around music therapy and things like that. So we had a big kind of exercise program as well. So we have, typically within the centre we would have run maybe up to about 13 classes a week in terms of exercise. We had to shift them online, so we still did our yoga, we still did our body combat, we still did our Zumba, and we still did our circuit and our kind of Tabata type training, but it was all done online, and people were tuning into private groups to access classes. So
isn't it?
It was brilliant, to be fair. Now there's good engagement. Like we set up 4 private groups on Facebook, and I think the membership is up now to about 375 people in the local community. So that's a men's health community. It's an exercise community. It's a kind of a long-term condition management type of community, and then there's obviously the dementia stuff that I talked about. If the funders obviously, value the work that we're doing. So, I mean, we were obviously still able to pay staff, and all my staff were working, full time, albeit that they were working from home. And that was a challenge in itself, because you have children to navigate, you have partners and husbands and wives and all that goes along with it.
Meshing the two worlds together.
Exactly, internet connections and the whole set up on laptops and phone. Then we had to get mobile phones for those that didn't have them and things like that. So that's through a whole series of challenges on itself. But as I say, look, we're fortunate enough. Funders were like, "You're doing a great job," But over time, the phone calls were getting a wee bit more challenging for the staff. So, and
As in the demand for them, was it? It was
just the feedback that people's mental health was kind of, suffering a wee bit over the lockdown period. So that coupled with conversations with other organisations in the area who were also engaging with, families with children and the youth service and all that, that's when we kind of looked at trying to come up with a couple of innovative ideas around, boosting people's mental health and well-being. And that's where you would see the stuff that we had around the Exercise on the Streets initiative.
I actually seen that was on UTV Live, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was basically, there was obviously adhering to the social distancing and guidelines at that particular time. We had asked people to exercise from the front gardens because that was their boundaries.
Yeah.
And we went into the streets and
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you were probably getting people that are taking part in exercising who have probably never even been to a class in OLT, and they've been stuck at home and they've just felt, oh, do you know what, I'm going to give this a go, and it's creating that whole community spirit and giving a wee bit of a vibe towards it all.
That's it. The feedback has been great from that. Like, I know we get good coverage and all, but we carried out a survey there recently, just on our Facebook. We got approximately 150 responses, and all that feedback was coming back to say, it was great for the kind of community spirit. It was great for me, for lifting my mood. It was everybody got involved.
Yeah.
My children looked forward to it once they seen the post on Facebook that day and all that kind of stuff. So, but it really did. That was one of the kind of major successes of the improving people's, mood and lifting spirit during what was a challenging time. So
yeah, I even know for myself. I mean, when they introduced that clapping for the nurses, I mean, I've never spoke to my neighbours as much in my life, coming out, standing in the front garden, and you got to be yarn with them, because previously you'd just be rushing in and out, getting into the car, going into the house, doing your shopping, going to work, coming back. You'd maybe say a brief hello, but you never actually would have took the time to sit and talk to one another. And I mean, I found that really helpful.
No, we've connected with a lot of people that we probably, wouldn't have connected with unless we went door to door, which we do, but not on the scale that we wish we could do. We have a larger team, but but no, that's it's been really good, and we'll continue to build on that, because we've built relationships with particular streets and with particular people. People are now coming to us and saying, well, is there anything else you can do, for us, or can you sign me up to anything else around this particular area of work or whatever? So we've got good engagement with them.
The whole awareness of the services that you're providing, and then it's opening up that whole new stream of people who can benefit from them and use them. I seen on Facebook and Twitter, I think it was, that you've launched the Communities in Transition program as well, and Arlene Foster and Michelle O'Neill were on that.
That's right. So
how's that been?
That's been really good. I would say that was kind of kicked off in kind of January, February time, and we were only in the midst of trying to roll the logistics of the project all out. But COVID kind of came along, so we've had to adapt and change the way we've had to kind of do that as well. But suppose a part of that is like two large health and wellbeing events are supposed to be. We should have run one of those for the local community at this particular time, but we had to look at that and shift again. We shifted part of that online, and we done like a 60-minute wellness online for local community, and then we went to the streets for the rest of the day to do the exercise stuff. So, but no, so it's been. Again, it's a challenge, but we've navigated around it. There's a big piece of work to be done now with that project in terms of we've been mentored 50 individuals who are presenting with their physical or mental health. So,
and will that all be all done online then?
Well, we're going to start engagement potentially over the phone and online, but now that the guidelines are kind of relaxed a wee bit, and they probably will be getting more towards September, then we'll kind of pick up that one-to-one kind of engagement with people too, in terms of whatever that need is. So it might be physical activity, it might be counselling, it might be, employability, whatever it is. So,
making sure you're giving like needs-led services.
I suppose it's going to be, we just have to pay attention to what the guidelines are telling us, because even, last week we were looking at doing exercise sessions outside with groups of 6 people, but then we come to
That's
now,
10.
we come to now and it's 10, so
Yeah.
we have to kind of keep an eye on that over the coming weeks. So what I said to staff is, look, don't be maybe jumping too quick into something, and
Yeah.
let's give it a couple of weeks to see what happens. But in terms of bringing people into the building itself, that's completely changed. Particularly for our tenants, we have a dentist here. We have a
Right.
small community cafe. We have a physiotherapist. We've Sure Start, which is a big tenant of ours. So how they
Yeah.
actually bring in parents and children's and do the children's centre has completely changed.
Yeah.
How do you implement social distancing under that? Whenever again we're told 2 meters last week, and I put all signs up around the building, and next week it could be 1 meter.
I know.
So
Just
it's
being
ever
flexible and
evolving.
listening to advice and guidance, and then trying to move forward and do as best you can, really, isn't it?
That's it. But a lot of our users, in terms of the organisation, a lot of the users that are coming in their program and service, like you can guarantee that 70 or 80% of them are all living with some type of long-term condition. So that's the challenge, because those are the people that are at most risk.
Yeah.
Programs like our long-term condition management program, our chronic pain, our falls prevention, all those types of program which are really specialist. We really need to focus down on how they operate.
Yeah.
And if we can operate, then
Yeah.
it will be smaller numbers, and it will be really, really analysing the risk associated with all those types of programs, which we're doing at the minute anyway. But
So plenty of work to keep us going then. Never been as busy, I'm sure.
When this all settles down, I keep telling people I'm going to take a week or two off myself and just lie down and talk to nobody. And
Sound like you deserve it.
The ceiling.
No.
But no, I suppose just in reflection too, we as an organisation, the Old Library Trust has a good relationship with yourselves at S3 Solutions. So, and we're really appreciative of the support over the last number of years. In particular around areas to do with kind of the organisation, improving the organisation. And that kind of development of both myself, because obviously I'm 2 years now coming up as kind of program manager. I've been here for quite a while, but Eamon and the team have been really helpful to myself in that journey and the organisation, and helped to kind of steady the ship along the way. So just a shout out for that.
Brilliant, thank you. I suppose that's even more crucial than when you're faced with the likes of a pandemic, and being able to respond in the way that you have been able to respond, is being a strong organisation to begin with, and developing over those past number of years, and making sure that you're in a position to tackle it head on, really.
It's been a steep learning curve, but sure.
They always are.
Everybody in the same boat.